Yeah. No, close the door.
Yeah, we'll get it. Good, that's good. I'm a chicken my head, what's this? All at the same time? Yeah. Did you get one? That's looking good down
Pass it down. Yeah. Take one down and pass it around. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on April the 18th of 2023. It's now 9:30 on the atomic clock. At this time, the good Reverend Darrell Mitchell, if you'll come up and lead us in an invocation and in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, sir.
Well, let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, thank you for this day of grace you've given us. You have given us this time to bask in your goodness and glory, and we're grateful for that. Pray for these proceedings, Father, that you bless all that we do. Help us to put aside things that are important, but to consider those things that are important for all of us, especially what your will and pleasure might be for the things that we consider here today. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
Yes.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend. And Reverend Mitchell is from Cedar Baptist Church. At this time, Sam, call the roll. Bring the court to order, please.
Lara Sanders. Present. Sean Logston.
Yes.
Karen Johnson. Here. Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
All present.
Thank you. Treasurer's transfer report.
Yes, Judge, that was dated for April the 20th of 2023 for your approval.
I make a motion we approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Second.
We got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Bleemel to approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation and approval of all bills as presented.
I'll make a motion that we approve those.
A second.
Got a motion by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes for the April 4th, 2023 Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the April 4th, 2023.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the Bullitt County Fiscal Court minutes for April 4th, 2023 as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, please. Kenan.
Yes, Judge, and that included your appropriation condition report, your revenue condition report, and your financial statement through March 2023 as reported to the Department of Local Government Regulatory.
Make a motion that we approve the report as presented.
A second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Treasurer's report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blemo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentations, Reverend Mitchell, about your school on Cedar Grove Baptist Church.
Thank you, Judge. Members of this fiscal court, thank you for letting me have the opportunity to do this. My name is Darrell Mitchell. I'm an elder pastor at Cedar Grove Baptist Church. As you know, June 25th, 1962, the Supreme Court ruled that prayer in school was not constitutional. A year later, they ruled that Bible reading in school was not constitutional. Since then, moments of silence have been challenged, prayer at graduation challenged, prayer athletic events challenged in the court, good news clubs challenged. Currently, we have critical race theory, which I don't have time to explain, intersectionality, which I don't have time to explain, that's taking place in schools, public schools, all across the country and in Kentucky. Drag queen shows performed elementary schools, transgender issues taking place in public schools, even in a place called Bullitt County, Bullitt Central High School, North Bullitt High School, Bullitt East. The restrooms have been open to boys and girls to go anywhere they want, as well as locker rooms. Depravity has taken control of our public education. You've seen what's happened in Virginia and other places. And about 8 months ago, the church at Cedar Grove Baptist Church decided that it was time that we do something about public education and offer an alternative, a Christian school. And the church voted to do that. We have a large campus, about 25 plus acres out there. We also have a facility that we can begin a class in, and we are going to start with pre-K and hopefully add a grade every year. I think that probably not in my lifetime, but at least the vision is that this school will grow, and we're asking for any support that we can get from the community. And I appreciate the fact that you've given me a few moments to speak about this, and hope that you'll come alongside of us and support this effort that we have. We do have a board in place. I'm on the board. My daughter, Monica Thomas, is on the board. Ralph Brothers, and also David Knuckles, who are members of our church, except my daughter. And so I'm more than accessible. If you want to get in touch with me, you can call the church office, and they'll give you my phone number, and I'll make that a public thing as well, as the other members of the board that we've elected at the church will do. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. We have another presentation. At this time, we're looking at opportunities and taking bids for the health care for our employees of Bullitt County. And at this time, Julie Miller will come up and present Blue Line.
Thank you. I appreciate your time this morning. I believe that all of you have presentation materials that we have supplied in advance for you to take a look at. Blue Mine is a network of primary care clinics across the state of Kentucky and southern Indiana, and we have two major goals: to save employers money on their health care costs, which is probably one of your top 3 expenses that you have right now, and to guide members to healthier outcomes. We do that through several different things. Number 1, through primary care. Number 2, through chronic condition management. Number 3, through wellness programs. And number 4, through occupational medicine resources that we have, which we find is unique to the municipalities and things that they need. If you took a look at that presentation, then you saw details on the primary care services that we provide, as well as wellness initiatives that we put in place. And we've had tremendous success with several other municipalities in the area. The other thing that you should have in your packet is an ROI analysis. I mentioned in the beginning that one of the first things that we want to make sure that we're doing is saving the county money on healthcare costs. We do that through a concierge-style medicine. For one flat fee, your employees and their family members have unlimited access to the clinic and our network of sites. So we've got one here in Shepherdsville, but we also have 12 other sites across the state. Next closest one is in Bardstown. So we know that we are set to serve your members through several different locations to make sure that they have easy access to those resources. If you look at the ROI analysis that you have, you'll see that it is an investment of $13,260 to supply these services to the county, but I would also reference what we have delivered in savings to some of our other municipalities across the state. Here in Bullitt County specifically, we are already serving the city of Shepherdsville, city of Hillview, and city of Mount Washington, and in just the first 4 months of serving city of Shepherdsville, we saved them $30,708 in healthcare costs. So we know that we can deliver that type of savings to you as well. To reference a couple of other municipalities that we're serving, Madison County Fiscal Court in their first year saved $82,911, and city of Madisonville saved $322,254 in healthcare costs. We will track that and give you an itemized report on a quarterly basis so that you will see the savings that we are producing for you. And again, alongside that, we're going to be providing healthier outcomes and exclusive access to our clinics for that. We serve several employers here in the community, and I will pause for a minute to see what questions you have.
When you mentioned savings in healthcare costs, what does that compare to? How do you determine that now?
Sure, absolutely. So in our clinics, we serve over 1,200 ICD and CPT codes. So if you get your bill after you've been to the doctor, you'll see it has a 5-digit code at the side and then explanation for why you were at the doctor. We have over 1,200 of those that we serve in the clinic. Every time members come into the clinic to use our services, it's a claim that does not bill to your health plan. So the more often your members are using the clinic, the greater the reduction in the claims that go to your healthcare costs, and that's how your renewals are calculated. Also, you're in a unique position right now. You have Humana Insurance, and Humana announced just a couple of months ago that they were exiting the employee benefits market. So you're going to be shopping that and making changes very soon, and this will provide you a pathway to shop that wisely and leverage what your renewal will look like by having this in place.
Thank you for bringing up the point about Humana, because that's why we're looking for opportunities to be able to provide the same level of health care that we have. And
I have met with you twice already, and also went to your office here in Shepherdsville. I was very impressed. A really good thing that they've got going on there. See it being a good thing for the county.
Absolutely. And like I said, we're already working here in the county as well as others, but municipalities we have produced better returns for than any of our other customers, just because there are some unique things that we do in providing care for firefighters, corrections officers, EMS, and so forth. There's several different things that we can do in the occupational health space, and all of those services are included in that rate that we have quoted to you.
You mentioned Mount Washington, Hillview, Shepherdsville. Was there another municipality in Bullitt County that you're currently working with?
Those are all the ones that we're working with in Bullitt County. Madison County Fiscal Court in Richmond, City of Madisonville down in Hopkins County, and then we also have others in Indiana. So Clark County Government, Floyd County Government, Lafayette Township Fire Department. We have about 8 different municipalities that we serve currently.
Do you have any way or knowledge of knowing of particularly, I mean, I'm just putting you on the spot here, but just maybe a ballpark number, Mount Washington, Hillview, Shepherdsville, what percentage maybe the participation level is? I know last time I went through and toured your facility and stuff, and I think some of the major concerns previously was participation was if this was something that we offered our county employees, would they take advantage of this? So I was just kind of curious what you're seeing from other areas, like maybe I don't know if there's a ballpark participation level, but are you
Actually, I
seeing
made
that
notes
people
on a few of
are
those
using
just
the
in
program?
case. Yes, sir. So City of Shepherdsville now has a 62% utilization rate. City of Mount Washington is at 29%. Clark County Government is at 56%. Madison County Fiscal Court is at 40%, and City of Madisonville is at 97% utilization.
Wow, that is something stuff.
It is.
If the employee and their families would utilize this, they could save so much money because they're not having to pay co-pays or deductibles or
Correct. Yes.
prescriptions or, all that is
I know.
for the entire family.
Correct.
So the family is saving a lot of money.
Right. Yes, we want to make sure that we are delivering that savings. But again, one of our big driving factors is that we are delivering savings to the county. So any of our employers are seeing that savings on their healthcare costs, which obviously translates into savings for the county as well, because we can help you reduce your healthcare spend.
Okay.
Well, thanks a lot. I think the timing's obviously good because as the judge said, obviously we're gonna have to do something with Humana making an exit plan.
Right.
So thanks for coming in.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Julie. Next up, Kevin Money. And you can,
Good morning, everyone.
Kevin's the county clerk for those of y'all who are new to the meeting today. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. Here today, we received the check back from County Fees Branch, Department of Revenue, and wanted to make our report and provide those excess fees to you all. This is 4 years worth of money, in addition to the monies that you all have received from the office on a quarterly basis. We submit all of our money up to the Department of Revenue, County Fees Branch. There is a percentage of that then that comes back to you all. They hold it for 3 months and send it back to you all on a quarterly basis. So this is just the excess fees that were left beyond what you all have received quarterly for the last 4 years. $1,538,310.44. For those of you who have been here for a number of years, you remember 4 years ago, we handed you all around $600,000 and some change.
Right.
And we asked that it be put into an escrow account for future space for the county clerk's office. You all have done that. I and the staff are remarkably grateful for it. As we move forward, I would like for this to be utilized in a comparable way so that when we find a space that becomes available, that I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. If we can do this debt-free, I'm all the happier to not encumber the county for this. And basically, the clerk's office has paid for the clerk's office.
Right.
And that then we have a space, whatever it might be, that will serve this county for years and serve it with pride. So I present this to you all. Judge, I'll give it to you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate your all's help very much, and
Sit down here. Down that place here.
appreciate it.
Kevin, thank you. And with our due diligence, we did save that $643,000, and I would like to do the same thing this time, to be able to, for the future needs of the county clerk, to hold it in to put it into that fund, because we had to use some of it on the clerk's behalf for voting equipment and some other nuances. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we do the same thing with this check as well, for the future needs, because we're at 85,000 people, your place is jam-packed, and I know you need room to grow, because electronically there's some things we can't compress.
If you all think that we're making this up, stop by the office, let me walk you into the deed room, or one of my employees walk you into the deed room and see what the back office looks like. We are almost sitting on top of ourselves.
Right.
where we need to put this, it's safe, I don't wanna hold it.
Canan. Hey, Canan, can you come up here and get this? Or Keith, one of the two of you.
538,000, I'm gonna let somebody else hold it.
There you go.
Everybody see me hand that off, right?
There you go.
Out of my hand.
There you go. So, but I would like to put that in the form of a motion that we, what I'm gonna say, escrow or keep this or do the Dave Ramsey due diligence to make sure that the clerk in the future, because it's gonna be 4 more years, and if you do look at his facility and where he's at, he has a space down at our EMS, Emergency Management Center as well, and it's all just jam-packed full. It doesn't matter how much electronics we have or how much we condense it down, the deed books have to stay real, and with all the transition that we've had in this community in the last 8 years, property deeds, values and all that, space just keeps getting larger and larger. So,
I'll second that motion, I believe it's, yeah, thanks for everything you do.
I have a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston. Any other discussion, members of the court? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bliemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
One of you, we appreciate it.
Thank
Hopefully we
you.
can get you a new improved or remodeled or some good space here soon.
Right. Sheriff Solar, it's your turn. Thank you, Bob, for all you do. And
Members of the court, ladies and gentlemen, when I took office in 2019, a prior administration had run into trouble with just exactly what we're talking about here today,
Copies of all these.
the surplus funds.
They just came
For
up.
those of you that may not be aware, once a county reaches a population of 70,000, the fee offices, which are the county clerk's office and the sheriff's office, are required instead of those two offices utilizing the fees that they receive and paying their bills themselves, all the fees they receive have to be sent to the state of Kentucky. And the state of Kentucky in Frankfort, they take and utilize 75% of what is collected and sent up there to pay for the expenses of the office, and they send 25% of those fees back to the fiscal court quarterly. So every 3 months they send 25% of what that is. Now, there was a deficit back in the second decade of the millennium one time of $560-some thousand. And when I took office as sheriff, what I advised the best CEO, the best chief financial officer in the state and sheriff's offices, Justin Ogle, to make sure that my wife never got the telephone call from me saying that we had $560,000 that we had to pay over because we had overspent. So Justin is our office manager, and he has done an outstanding job over the last 4 years. And what we have today to present to you all as well is a surplus of that 75,000, or 75%, that we have not utilized through good fiscal management and a good partnership with the fiscal court, and the good Lord looking after us as well. I'll have to say that. But what we have today to present to you all is a surplus of $1,696,310.74. Judge, and that's, I'll hand that to you all.
Yeah, but he's outdoing you with that check.
I'm afraid to take this one over to stockyards, so it might not.
Now, I had a higher hill to climb than what Kevin has. But I was coming, the sheriff's office has been coming from a lower spot. So I cannot tell you how proud and relieved I am that we have, I was calling the finance cabinet weekly after first of the year, asking them, when are we going to have this? When are you going to have a final number on this? And that's what they presented to us. Now, let me switch over, and here's what I would when I took office, I told anybody and everybody that would listen that my plan and hope was to turn the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office into one of the best sheriff's offices in the United States of America. We're well on that path, along that line, due to the vision that I have brought to the table, the cooperation I've gotten from all of the other elected officials in Bullitt County, and the tremendous staff that I have been blessed with having at the Sheriff's Office. What I'm asking you to do with those funds that I have presented to you is, one, we have requested and are requesting a $2 an hour raise for all the folks at the Sheriff's Office. Here's why. We are competing in a Louisville labor market and now a Bullitt County labor market, and we are behind regularly Mount Washington, Shepherdsville, Hilton. I understand that Shepherdsville may be doing they did a 10% increase last year, and this year I'm being told that they may well be having a 5% increase for all their employees. I'm losing personnel, I'm losing deputy sheriffs just lost one last week to Mount Washington. This blue mine I hope you consider it strongly, because that's one of the things that's been brought up to me when our guys leave, is that they advise that, man, this blue mine that Shepherdsville has, Mount Washington has, it's a great deal for me. I'm starting a family, I need that better insurance. So, but the funds, and if you can take and give us authorization to, and we'll budget $2 raise for our folks, that's going to amount to $260,000. The funds that I've given you will support that for 4 years, because that $260,000 will amount to $1,040,000 over the course of the next 4 years. So I'm asking for it. We need it tremendously, desperately, and there's the funds that can be set aside to fund it. Secondarily, one of the things that causes me to lose sleep is worrying about two main things. One, people in Bullitt County getting hurt by a violent action. Number two, active shooter event, terrorist event, anything of that nature. And the second thing that I wake up in the middle of the night worrying about is, do we have the equipment and the training for our deputies that they are going to get to come home after they work their shift if they run up against that evil person, that evil group of people? And so, what I'm asking you for is authorize us to spend $350,000 to buy a rescue vehicle, and here's why. You may recall in the June of 2022 in Floyd County, Kentucky, there was an armed assailant. The deputies went to serve a domestic violence order, and there was a lone gunman inside that house, and he killed 3 police officers and wounded 5 others. Now, he was in there, and they could not get anywhere up to save. Some of those officers that died because they bled to death because nobody could get up there to save them. There was about 100 to 200 yard span, and these guys were up there and no one could get there. That man, for hours, held off the police until such time as the Kentucky State Police SRT arrived with an armed rescue vehicle, and they were then able to get right up next to that building, and he surrendered then. Unfortunately, it was hours too late. And now since I've been sheriff, we've had several situations here in Bullitt County that I was present at, and then some that I wasn't present at, where we needed an armored rescue vehicle. And the city of Louisville and the Kentucky State Police and St. Matthews, they have come and helped us when we asked. But when seconds matter, Louisville and State Police and St. Matthews are only hours away. It took hours for them to get here after the request was made, just because of the behemoth of an organizational nature that they have. They can't be here. I worry consistently every day about if something happens to one of our deputies, are we going to have the ability to get there to save them? You take the situation that happened in Louisville last week or so. I'm advised by these folks that build these things, and if any of you have watched that video, Officer Galloway, who neutralized that shooter, he was worrying about his partner, Officer Wilt, who was laying there injured. He kept saying, we've got to take and get up to him. Well, here's what I'm told, and if that happened here in Bullitt County, we'd have to wait. If we weren't able to take him out by an individual officer, we have no armored rescue vehicles to save him. I'm told there was 8 steps going up to that bank. I'm told that these armored rescue vehicles would be able to negotiate those steps and drive right up there and put armor in front of that situation. We had a barricaded subject where a guy fired 5 times at my deputies out here on Fisher Road a couple of years ago. We were all there working, trying to take and negotiate that out. We're behind trees, we're standing out in the open. When the Louisville SWAT team got there, they brought their cover with them. They brought an armored vehicle, and all of their personnel started approaching up to that space where that guy was, behind that armored rescue vehicle. We desperately need this, so I'm asking you to allow us to use some of these funds for that. Additionally, the Special Operations Facility that you all graciously allowed us to move into, and it has been a game changer for our ability to process cases and house our personnel. It was built back in the 80s, I believe. Somebody here said the 90s, but I think it was built, I was here and I'm pretty sure it was built in the 80s to house our ambulance service. It's leaking, the roof's leaking, this and that and the other. It's going to either need anything from a new roof back down to a major repair. CAECO's adjusters have looked at it, said it has to do with the rubber gaskets. That's why it's leaking so bad. We would like to take and utilize some of these funds to repair and or replace that roof so that it'll last for another good 20, 30, 40 years. Then additionally, we operate the impound lot over there. It's a gravel drive from in front of the EMS building over to where it is. We're advised by the road department that it'll take about $11,000 in materials to pave it. So we would request the court to authorize us to use some of that for that. And then finally, in 2003, when we moved into this building, the sheriff's office over there was painted bright and shiny. To my knowledge, I was here that day when we moved in, and I don't believe the sheriff's office in whole has been painted since then. And I'm advised that we can get it painted for $15,000. Now, unfortunately, but fortunately, I've provided this $1,600,000 and some odd dollars. What I'm asking you to give back to us to utilize for these things amounts to $1,506,000. I fervently request that you do that, and I brought along Justin Odell and Chief Payne. Justin to talk about any details you may want on these requests on the SOF or the painting or the salary, and Chief Payne can fill you in with great detail on why we need this armored rescue vehicle.
Sure, and I guess, Walt, the last time around, what we did, and you kept your commitment, we gave you the funds. You've increased your patrols from 19 to 22 in this tenure.
Yes, sir.
On point, and you've kept all your commitments. And from where I sit, I have I don't want to use the word issue, but your request is logical because it is funding that we don't budget for. You send us a check every quarter, like Kevin does. Mm-hmm. And this has been a good steward of the community. And public protection's been literally the #1 mantra of this administration and moving forward. We have an obligation to protect and make sure that our 85,000 plus residents are safe. and all those passing through our community as well. The easiest recommendation I can make is the $260,000 for the $2 an hour raise. That's up to me. The rest of it's going to be up to the court members themselves. But I firmly believe your staff needs to be competitive with Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, and the Louisville area, because we're in the same box with EMS and EMA. There's no difference in those employees who are technically trained to do a specific job and do it very well. And the rest of it, we're just, the judge is all about the armored vehicle, your office, and especially down at the, what used to be the old EMS building, where you're at with your strategic operations people.
Yes, sir.
So, if there's any members of the court, Keith?
Ask a question. So the $1 billion, you're saying to bring that down, that would go over 4 years, correct?
Correct.
So what we can do with this, and one of the things, and Justin, what we'll have to do is to amend your budget. So we'll have to go through the steps of changing these. What we can do, though, Judge, is we can create a contingent line item, much like we did for the county clerk.
Right.
Put that money aside, so this basically $1 million, $250,000 comes out this year for that. There's going forward, there'd be $750,000 in that contingent
For the what?
that we would draw every year for the 4 years.
And if I may, Keith, I'm blessed. We have been good stewards of the people's money, and we can cover that $2 an hour up through the end of June without having to do anything. We've got enough funds in the sheriff's office. And what I'm asking for is for you all to utilize these funds in your next budget that you're going to pass in June to provide for that.
Okay.
And then, and not to, then with regard to, well, I've got some other stuff I can tell you about this rescue vehicle too, if you care to hear it.
No, I think we're good on, I guess I have to make the resolution on shit.
You want to make a specific motion for the raise?
For the raise, and then we can entertain the others and do them too, but I have to do the one for the raise.
I have some questions. Is the raise for all employees, CSOs, and the staff?
Yes, ma'am, it is for the front office staff, for the CCSOs, and again, and the deputies. So it's, and mind you, in comparison to around industry in general, our folks are very lowly paid. They do a tremendous amount for very little.
No, and I'll second that. But anyway, I'm making the motion to put the $1 million away for the $2 an hour increase, and we'll put it in a separate account on the advice of our CFO and working with the CFO from the judge's office, both Keith and Justin.
I second that.
I'll third that.
Okay. I have a second by First District Magistrate Sanders. Sam called. Any other discussion, members?
I have one. What is the starting pay for a deputy? Like, I guess a newly hired deputy?
It varies by years of experience. So if it's somebody that's has already been certified as an officer, I didn't have that number with me right now, but I believe we're starting at 20. Wasn't ready for that. It's around 26, 27. So that'll bring us up, closer to that. And it's very competitive to the surrounding areas. Shepherdsville is actually a little bit higher, and with their, I don't know what they're doing with their upcoming budget, but it'll put us at a more of a disadvantage. One of the things we always face in the sheriff's office is our budget statute has to be set by January 1.
Yep.
Of course, you all and all the other cities are on fiscal years where their budgets start July 1. So whatever we decide to do in January, the cities have 6 months to look at it, and then they're always competitive with their employees as well. And And so we continue to try to help be competitive and move our office forward.
Brian, to further that a little bit, roughly, this is very roughly, I don't have details, but we are fairly competitive with Hillview, Shepherdsville, Mount Washington. Maybe even, we're just right there with them on recruits. Somebody that they've decided they want to be, they want to get in policing, and we're going to send them to the police academy. We're competitive with them there. Where we have traditionally not been competitive at all, and we're working at trying to get there, is guys that are 3 years in, guys that are 5 years in, 10 years in, and that sort of thing. Now, one of the very tremendous blessings we've had at the sheriff's office is that the state of Kentucky has authorized us, we can hire retired police officers. We could, as many as we need. Police departments are limited to a smaller number of retired folks that they can hire. We have been blessed with being able to hire Kentucky State Police, Louisville Metro Police that have retired in our community, get the benefit of all of those years of experience and training. But we're not competitive with, we're behind the ball a bit from Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, and Hillview on those 10-year police officers. That's what we're going to get further behind if Shepherdsville does this $2 an hour raise will get us up where we need to be. And it's not just that. I've had one guy, he left this last month to go back to, he came out here from Louisville. The climate in Louisville is much better. I had one guy saying yesterday, well, he might just consider going back to Louisville, doing late watch, because they give him a $15,000 bonus and come back, and then they're paying them a whole lot to ride a beat down there. So this is a guy that had already retired, was talking about that. We're not just dealing with Bullitt, we have to deal with that Louisville market as well.
I think you bring up a good point too. It's something we've talked about in the past is I know we've really tried hard with EMS to create that platform where it's not a stepping stone for other opportunities where people can create a career here, retire from here, and not just, start here, work for a few years and then go somewhere else. So I'm glad that we're able to do this and you're able to come to the court with this type of money to give us this opportunity, because otherwise we may not, our hands might have been tied. But I feel like it's a great opportunity to capitalize on this and to try to not only recruit those good people that are interested in becoming a part of your department, but also keep them here and retain those people. So I know it's something we're trying to do, obviously, with you all at EMS, and so that we're not losing people. And gosh knows what it costs you to train somebody and then start all over, from scratch. I mean, that number's hard to track, and but I can't imagine how time-consuming that is to train somebody, to get them up to speed. You feel confident in them, and then next thing you know, they're leaving and you're starting all over again. So hopefully this will help the retaining employees.
We had run into, it was a 3-year mark, because we would send them to the academy, train them, and then at 3 years folks would go and find, Tom Huff, Russell Weber, Mike Demas, and the rest of their compadres up there in Frankfort helped us across the state with that this year. The Sheriff's Association promoted, and they passed a bill extending that to 5 years. We now will be having deputies that we send to the police academy, we'll have them sign a contract saying that they will stay with us for 5 years.
Okay. Any other discussion, members of the court? Brian, you good?
If I may, I do have that picture you asked for. So our current 1-year lateral deputies is $25.41, and if it's a 3-year lateral deputy, it's at $27.49.
Good deal. Thank you, Justin. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Sam, call the roll.
Lawson?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blemo?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now, on the second part, the discussion on the rest of the items, or I need a motion to approve them all as a package.
Can we do it as a pack? I mean, I'll make the motion. Obviously, you're as good as anybody as a steward of the money, and you've explained anything, and I always compliment you well at your whole department, because when you put something together, it's extremely detailed and it shows where the money's going to be spent, how it's going to be spent, and I definitely don't see a problem in light of everything, unfortunately, that's going on in the world today. I think safety is, is our number one priority here to provide to our community, and knowing that there's not an armored rescue vehicle in the county, and this will be one that all, that can respond to any incident throughout the county. I think it's a no-brainer in this situation to do that. I'll make a motion, and I don't know if I need to itemize each one of these, but I'll make a motion on the floor that we accept Sheriff Scholar's request to purchase tactical multi-purpose response and rescue vehicle in addition to the, correct me if I'm wrong here, but roof repairs, in addition to gravel for the impound lot, and then painting and drywall repairs.
Go ahead. Can I
Stopping me?
Well, I think what it needs to state is that we're going to put that in our budget.
Okay.
For Sheriff Shovel's to,
Use accordingly?
Right.
yeah, that we're going to put that in his budget.
Do we need to add these numbers together, give you a number, or just?
In the upcoming budget, it will be placed in his budget for him to purchase, and obviously he'll have to bring it before this board, but yeah, anything over 30,000, it goes to the procurement procedure.
It's now 40. They moved it up to
40.
Okay, good.
Legislature passed it up to 40 this year.
Okay. So that'll work. Do we need a motion then?
Pass that like that.
We need a motion?
Yeah, I would go ahead and do that. I think it's fine to do a motion, but we'll,
Yeah.
so since the check's coming, we'll
Right.
break it down.
Break it down.
You can just put that you're going to allocate the funds for Sheriff Shovel's budget.
Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we allocate the remainder of the funds that we received today for Sheriff Schuller's budget at his discretion, based upon what was presented today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that good?
There you go. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Blacktop, yes.
Yeah, I need a second on that motion.
I'll second.
Got a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Longston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Sheriff
Thank you
Scholler.
all so very much, and just for your information, if I may, that takes them several months to, they don't have these vehicles
Sure.
sitting on a lot, they're building. We're going to reach out to them to now that I've got your commitment that you'll authorize it, to start building one of those to get here as soon as possible. And we've been trying to get something like this through the military, the DRMO program, since I became sheriff, actually before, and the Biden administration shut all that down, and we have been ignored. They have thousands of them sitting in lots, but they won't take and send them to local communities. So I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
And with the thank yous, Walter, is there anybody on the sign-up sheet up there?
There is, and some of them, from my,
Would you guys?
Whitney probably wants to speak with you, but I think Justin and
Okay.
Payne,
All right.
we're going to take and support my company.
Gotcha. We did Darryl Mitchell, Gary Board.
Good morning.
Morning, Gary.
I guess it's still morning.
No, I got the atomic clock, it's 10:16. I should put it on the wall, but, all right.
I attended a meeting earlier this month, and our state senator, Mike Nemes, spoke in regards to moratorium being placed on annexation. And I was hoping I could get more information as far as how long this moratorium will be. And then also I think I heard him say that unless the county and whichever city wanted to annex, if they was in agreement, they could go ahead and proceed.
And Gary, to help you a little bit with that, I know it's for an entire fiscal year, but we will get you the details on your questions, because some of that's still up in, what I'm gonna say, like in Miss Baker's category. It depends on how the language has been written. It should have been a little bit more clear. But to help you a little bit, we have a great relationship with J.D. Cheney. We partnered with him on the barrel tax as well. So we have a great relationship with the League of Cities, and we will get you a answer on those questions, because those are the same that we have as well.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Gary. So Walston spoke. Do you want to speak again?
Only if Whitney needs me after.
Okay, gotcha. Whitney, come on. And to help you a little bit, Whitney's head of our 911 center. Our dispatch does a terrific job.
Thank you.
And she's got a lot of information here today.
I do have a lot of information. I have a PowerPoint. I don't know if I could plug that in. Is that possible? Janice? Thank you.
Janice,
I didn't
we got
see
it.
So I suspect.
I was going to set that up on that microphone. Okay, thank you, Whitney.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Packets for all of the magistrates as well. I would like to present and formally request your approval and commitment for a $2 raise for our 911 dispatchers as well. We are not seen and hopefully not often forgotten, sorry. We are 2 trained, certified emergency personnel behind the scenes. And I've made a PowerPoint just kind of show you guys what a day is like for our 911 dispatchers. Janice, if you can go to the next. So this is the statistics for 2022. We took over 114,000 calls. I have broken down there the emergency and non-emergency calls for service that we took in 2022. And magistrates, yes, I put on that PowerPoint, a letter, and a table that we can discuss towards the end of the slide. This is a YouTube video. I'll just show you a couple of minutes of it. It's 4 minutes. I know I'm on a time limit, Janice. If you could just maybe a couple minutes for me. This is just
You're good.
a normal day, a 12-hour shift for each individual dispatcher.
Coming through, yes.
All right, so have you seen anything change on scene for our officers?
Here is talking to a police officer. You can pause it, Janice. Like I said, I want to be respectful of the time. Thank you. So he's talking to his fellow dispatchers. It's often referred to as a beehive, as you can hear all the audio and us talking amongst each other, taking phone calls, helping an officer with their mobile unit, setting off a fire pager. Later throughout the call, he answers a phone and he gives CPR over a juvenile that's passed out on a trail. We do all of that. Next slide, please. So these are the law enforcement calls for service that we took in 2022. We dispatched for all 6 law enforcement agencies, the 6 fire departments, and the 2 emergency medical services, in addition to communicating with out-of-county agencies, our emergency management, road department, public works, animal control, record service, the list goes on. We're there 24/7, so we do a lot. There's kind of a graph of the law enforcement calls for service, how it was broken up between each police department, and obviously the sheriff's office. It was over 63,000 calls, almost 64,000 calls for 2022 that came all through our center, and we handled every single one of them. These are the emergency medical calls for service, a total of 14,217 calls. You can see there the graph for Bullitt County EMS and Mount Washington Fire and EMS. Bullitt County EMS had 11,115 calls, and Mount Washington Fire and EMS had 3,102. Again, every call for service call comes in through the 911 center. We CAD the call, which means saves it to the computer system to send the closest unit, as well as give emergency medical dispatch instructions to the caller until responders arrive. Next slide, please, Janice. These are our fire calls for service. So our fire dispatchers often sometimes take that fire call for service, so have to talk to the citizen in distress and dispatch the fire department as well. And we had about almost 7,300 calls for service for the fire department. Again, all coming through the 911 center, and all our dispatchers handling each one of those calls within the center. So I wanted to break these numbers down for you and what exactly that means on average. On average, a caller waits about 6 seconds for us to answer, emergency or non-emergency. And that concludes to us having an incoming call about every 4.5 minutes. And every 16.5 minutes, we have a high priority call, whether that's a full arrest, an overdose, a burglary, anything of that nature, a structure fire. And we average an overdose or a full arrest about every 18 hours. So again, we not only answer that call, we get the critical information to enter into the CAD so we can pass that information to our responders, ensure the scene is safe, and provide emergency medical dispatch instructions over the phone until responders get there. These next two slides are just additional tasks that we do on top of answering all the emergency and non-emergency calls and dispatching police, fire, and EMS. As I kind of mentioned earlier, we contact the road department, public works, animal control when necessary. We also hold and enter all of the NCIC files, which is National Crime Information Center. So we enter anything from a stolen vehicle to a stolen iPad to a wanted person or a missing person. And we communicate across the nation with other agencies to ensure officer safety with these type of hot files they're referred to. And we set off the tornado sirens when a warning is issued. We do it for our monthly tests. We maintain and initiate communications to helicopters when we may need it for a critical crash, any type of law enforcement issue they might be assisting with a missing person or a subject that has fled. Sorry, next slide. We keep track of any repossessed vehicles in the county. We communicate with the appropriate judge during business hours or on call for the judge, CPS, CDW, county attorney, APS. We contact the coroner when needed. I'm not going to read everything that you guys can read yourself, but this is just 2 slides of additional things that our 911 dispatchers do. Next slide, please. And this is the last slide, which magistrates, you have this table. This first column is the agency, and then next with our salary and other benefits that that agency may offer. We are also struggling in addition to EMS, and as Sheriff Schroeder said with the Sheriff's Office, how we lost a deputy last week to another agency. We are doing the same. Oldham County recently just passed their new raise, and they nearly make $9 more on the hour than Bullitt County does, and we have lost, or we are going to lose, a senior good asset dispatcher from our facility. As Mr. Loxton also mentioned, we have often been a stepping stone. Bullitt County Dispatch is. We hire them, we train them, we send them to the academy, and they often leave us for these agencies that pay significantly more and ultimately do less call volume than we do. They usually dispatch one police department, have less amount of citizens, less amount of agencies, and get paid more than we do, unfortunately. But I believe with this $2 increase that we too can have better recruitment efforts and ultimately retention so we can keep our senior good dispatchers. A lot of us, like myself, have grown up here, live here, want to be invested in our hometown, but it's hard when you have somebody just kind of across the county paying $9 more an hour.
If I may, Judge, Whitney, how many E911 telecommunicators are you authorized?
16.
How many do you currently have?
12.
Now, and let me add too, we have funds in our current budget that if the court will commit to this $2 an hour raise in your budget in your 2023-24 budget, we can go ahead and we need to go ahead and publicize and make that increase in pay as of the next pay period. And we're prepared to do that if you all will commit to put that into your budget. I can't carry it. I don't have enough money to do it on into the next year, but I can cover it between now and then at the sheriff's office if you all commit to do it. And we need it desperately because we need 16, we got 12.
And that 12 doesn't include the one that have recently applied to Oldham County is in their hiring process as well. So that would put us down to 11.
There's like 2 more planning on leaving.
One for Ford, it says.
Oh, yes, there was somebody else that had applied to Ford. Her application has been pulled. We're not sure where she is in the hiring process. So yeah, yes, that would put us down to 10 because Ford is hiring at $25 an hour.
Yeah, and you want to, Keith, or me?
I just want to ask a question. So when we did our budget, I thought we added a $2 raise in the upcoming budget for you all, did we not?
We had discussed it, but we had understood that we needed to make a formal request.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this is just me.
I think in our budget, this is our, that we present to the fiscal court.
Okay, well, this is, I guess, just in addition to that presentation.
And here's, maybe not, I'm looking for a commitment from you all today publicly that you will do that. You can't pass your budget today, but if you commit to me that you're going to do it, I will take and authorize the increase in pay and I'll cover it. Because here's the one thing worse than getting a pay increase, is getting a pay increase and then have it taken away.
That's right.
That would, so I'm not, I want to be sure that we're going to be able to carry it forward before we put it out there because I'm afraid folks would leave the road.
Yeah, and I need a moment here to explain what I'm going to say, the financials of 911. Before we got here, when you look at, I'm going to pick on Madison County. Reagan Taylor's a great friend of mine. I mean, we've grown up together over the years, Julie. Long story short, in Madison County, you have Berea and Richmond who partner with the county to provide a great 911 system, Sheriff's Patrol, the whole gamut of it. Well, this community decided that a $36 fee per building was going to be adequate enough to furnish 911. Well, it's maybe about $1.2 or $3 million short each year. We subsidize that. So moving forward, the court needs to consider this. I'm not opposed to the $2 an hour raise, but we've got some strong headwinds financially. And when you look at Boone County, they're $72 a home. They're communities of our size. And this court needs to consider that fee to be annually increased, no different than what we did for the CPI for the magistrate's salaries moving forward as well. Doesn't have to go up in leaps and bounds, but a couple of dollars a year for the services that 911 provides and when you need it. And it's a fee, it's not a tax. So the county's growing, so exponentially the money should come up. But I'll make the commitment because we have done budgeted it for $2 an hour. But I do want the audience and the folks to know how it's funded. And the subsidy that we provide as a county to all the cities who have police, fire, and all the rest of the organizations in this community, what 911 does do on behalf of the fiscal court. So
Yes, the
I don't know how
county
that
provides all the service.
I don't know how that slid through like it did back in the day, but the county has the least amount of revenue of most all the cities in the county, the larger cities. So, but I will make a commitment, or we can make the commitment, Walt, to move forward with it at the $2 an hour. But the court has a fiscal responsibility here too as well. But we need well-trained first responders all the way around. Our guys, I've listened to the chiefs and stuff, they want them to be able to do more, let's put it this way, expand their reach.
Correct.
Okay? So, anyway, like I said, we're facing some real financial headwinds moving forward as a community. And it's part of our responsibility as a fiscal court. We cannot, and from our perspective, the judge's perspective, we will not cut emergency services short on what we need to protect our citizens, to keep them safe.
Judge, if I may add too, I can tell you how that happened, because one of the benefits of being old is I was here the day that it did happen. Judge Cliff Haley, back in that time in the 1980s, the counties, the way the federal government and so forth was funding things, the counties were flush and the cities were poor. That's changed. The cities are now flush and the county is poor. And it has been that way for quite some time. But what happened, Judge Haley came and said, I remember, see, Lebanon Junction had its own dispatch, and Mount Washington had its own dispatch, and Shepherdsville had its own. And Judge Haley came and said, if you all will take and join in the central dispatch, the county will fund it. And the county has. And I'll step out here and urge, increase that fee, because it's not, we have been doing it here. The fiscal court's been doing it here. And what I'm talking about is they've been supplying a first class service, but they're having to do it, it's like providing a champagne service on a beer budget. Right. And I applaud what you've been able to do and what you all have been able to do and what the county as a whole has been able to do. But we need to take and increase that, because you look at that $27 an hour in Oldham County and they don't do half.
Right.
They do not do half of what our dispatchers are doing. And they are the absolute lifeblood and the keystone of the communication in this county. Without them, everything else in public safety is lost.
Right. And I agree. I mean, we spent $6 million down there to make it state of the art.
And it's great. It's the best I've ever seen. And
Right.
there's several new magistrates that, of course, have not met yet. I'd like to extend my business cards, and anytime that you guys would like to come, I believe, Sean, you've been there, but if you want to come see us again, we'd love to show up.
So,
I just want to echo a couple things you said real quick. I mean, first of all, thanks for putting this together. I've been here a little while now, and it's really good to see these numbers and to see this presented in this fashion. And particularly the spreadsheet here, I think you already pulled the jump drive out. Okay, that's cool. But that last slide where you've got this breakdown of the different departments and the different runs and responsibilities, I mean, that's one of the first things that jumps out to me is what you all were just talking about is, we are a county agency, but, you're responsible for so much other stuff. I mean, I don't have a hesitation in the world of giving you a $2 raise and going on the book today and making that motion, but I still don't think that's enough. I mean, so I think that's where we got to go back to the drawing board, whether it's looking at the 911 fee, whether it's looking at other alternatives, because that doesn't even still put you, I think, in the ballgame with some of these other.
Correct. We're still behind.
And I don't understand as well. You just explained it to me, though, but that was going to be a question before you mentioned something, Judge, is, how could we, or is there a way to get other departments to help pitch in? Because, we are providing a service for the entire county.
In infrastructure.
Like if everybody had a little skin in the game, and Mount Washington gave a little bit, Shepherdsville gave a little bit, and then we can really take care of you all where you need to be, because, you're not just providing services for the county, you're providing services for each one of the cities within the county, because they all depend on you. And I know our 911 fee helps cover some of that, but like you said, it still falls 1.2, 1.3 million short, and we have to subsidize the rest of that. So I mean, that may take legislation. I don't know if any city's going to voluntarily write a check to help out, that may be worth entertaining because of what you all do for them and to make sure that, because I know I've talked with some of the different police officers at different times and they like to know who they're dealing with at dispatch and as you all have turnover, I can't imagine how difficult, I've never been a law enforcement officer, but I can't imagine how difficult that is building new rapport with a new dispatch, somebody they're not on the phone. But I'm 100% okay with the $2 raise, and it sounds like that's something you already discussed during the budget, or would have been.
Will be presented.
Well, I'm good with it today, but I definitely think as a court, we need to sit down and talk about what we can do beyond that, because when you look at that $2 raise, it's still, it's still under $20, and you're looking at some of these other areas that you've outlined on this spreadsheet. I mean, we're nowhere close. So, just like I said earlier, I don't want this to be a stepping stone. The tragedy that happened, I just, for some reason, I was drawn to that, and I listened to the audio of those dispatchers in Louisville for every one of those calls. I was on YouTube, and it just caught my attention, and I just, I don't know, I just is interested in hearing it, and I listened to all that, and it's unbelievable what you all have to go through and listen and keep your composure, and there's people out there at Taco Bell, and other fast food restaurants that are around that same price range of warehouse jobs. I mean, I can't think of a more important job than what you all do on a daily basis to remain calm and to keep those people on the other line safe or hang on or have faith or whatever the situation may be. But I'm okay with a $2 raise, but I think we, the court, definitely need to talk about what we can do more.
Yeah, and I would love to have you guys down to the center, present that information. We have spoken about that before. I have the numbers and just kind of break down everything for you guys. That would be great. The dispatchers that we do have obviously are great. It's very important to me not only to fill the seats, but it's most importantly to have the quality over the quantity. So that's something that I hold near and dear to me, is to make sure that we have good people, just like in every position with the sheriff's office and EMS, to have good people in the positions and not just the guy at Taco Bell that's coming because it's 10 cents more. So
just one quick question. How long, what is a shift for you all?
12 hours.
12 hours.
We all work 3 days.
It's similar if you're familiar with EMS's schedule. The way that I like to describe it, for people that might not be familiar, and I can't really remember the 3-2-2 or whatever it may be called, but 1 week they will work every day besides Wednesday and Thursday. So they'll work Monday, Tuesday, their 12-hour shifts. They'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, and then they work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, their 12-hour shifts. The next week, they're off every day besides that Wednesday, Thursday. So they're going to be off that Monday, Tuesday, work the Wednesday, Thursday, their 12-hour shifts, and then off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every other weekend, 3-day weekend off.
What's the dynamics of your staff over there? Like, who's the youngest person over there, probably?
Very young. Youngest person over there is 19. I'm 29, and my staff is around my age or a little bit younger, so I think the 3 oldest are here. Terry's been here for 26 years, Stephanie and I've worked for Bullitt County for 10 years, and our staff is very young.
Terry has been 26 years, and it has been a labor of love. It has not been a labor for dollars. She's outstanding, has been for a long time. She's the glue that holds things together at times when, we've been very blessed since I've been sheriff to have 2 outstanding directors, and Terry is right there supporting them. And before that, she was supporting the folks that were there before. And just, anyway.
It is very much a labor of love.
26 years, that's awesome, thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So at the top of all the pages, it's Bullitt County Sheriff's Office. So is dispatch under the Sheriff's Office?
Here's the way that, years ago when I was county attorney, our Lincoln CIC, which is the criminal information that comes in, running license plates and stuff like that, was operated by a board. The board was the head of dispatch, the county judge, the county attorney, and so forth were on that board, a couple of police chiefs. The state police and the FBI changed that now, and a law enforcement agency has to manage the personnel that operate that Lincoln CIC system. Well, back in 2019, back in 2016, it was operated by the guy that Mike Phillips was head of EMS and this and that. He was operating dispatch too. we got our license pulled. The sheriff of Bullitt County in 2017, Donnie Tennell, was told, if you will not take over the operation of the personnel and dispatch, we will pull all of our equipment out of Bullitt County. And it was several things, violations that were occurring and stuff that were not dealt with. So in 2017, Donnie Tennell agreed that he would take over the management of the personnel. In 2019, when I came in as sheriff, we formalized that. So had the state police come in and explain, there was some question as to whether it could be run by fiscal court or this or that. I have offered repeatedly to, if anybody doesn't like the way I'm doing it, and there's been some question, I'm fine. I want what's best for this county. So I talked to the Shepherdsville Police Chief, talked to the Mount Washington Police Chief. Would you all be willing to take over the management of the personnel at dispatch? No. So in terms of paying for it, these other agencies thus far have not been prepared to step up and take over the management. I love these folks. They do an outstanding job. But I didn't wake up one morning and think to myself, I want to run for sheriff so I can run dispatch. That was not my thoughts. But that's why we're running. We don't own the facility. We don't own the equipment. The only thing that the sheriff's office has the responsibility and the authority over is the personnel.
So they're not sheriff's office employees?
They are sheriff's office employees because you all fund the money over. That's what they have to be under. It's like a management agreement. I'm providing the staff. You all are providing the equipment and everything.
So are they getting the $2 raise under the sheriff's office?
We have a separate
Okay,
budget.
well, that's what I was.
Because there's a separate budget. The fiscal court provides 100% of the pay for the dispatchers. But that's what I was saying. We have enough money in our budget currently. We can support this $2 an hour raise through the end of June.
The sheriff's office?
The sheriff will be doing that. It's already in the budget.
Okay, and how much does this pencil out to total, do you know?
Yes, it's on, I think, page 4 of that letter. The increase. No, it's not. Do you have those numbers still with you, Justin? I can get those to you. I have it. I thought I included it in the letter. My apology. I don't want to give you a false number.
And on the last page, it's also asking about an increase of at least $5 per hour. Is that correct too, or?
Well, I originally requested a $5 increase per hour, and when we had our fiscal meeting, we had the 2, and I presented on behalf of the 2. Ideally, as Sean said, it's still not enough with the 2. We would be still under budget with the rest of the agencies with the $2 increase.
So it's not the 5, it's at the end?
No, the 2 at this time.
I think she'll take as much.
I'll take 5. I would absolutely
Yeah.
take
Oh,
5. And
everybody
then if
would.
we meet again, we present with the 911 fee or the other numbers that you need. If we ideally get up to that 5, that would be spectacular.
Do you happen to know how much the total is on that line item?
Still working on that.
Yeah.
You all probably within the next 2 weeks, that you all have that, your all's time to go through that. I can teach you that. I don't have everything right here.
It's around.
The $2.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's a rough estimate for the $2 increase. It was an increase of our payroll salary of $80,000 roughly.
Annually?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'd like to verbally commit to that too, but I feel like I say, I don't think too, so if we can crunch the numbers and we can come up with a little bit more, I'd like to see more. I'm looking at this sheet, how it really is. Do we need a motion for that too?
Well, I
now, or-
mean, you all are going to be presented with, we did put that in their budget, but if they want to do like what the sheriff did, where they can,
Well, we got 2 people, I don't know if $2 is going to make a difference for those 2, but, yeah, but it might be worth being on record so we know that leaving for $1 or 2, you know, that they're going to be guaranteed $2 that we made that statement.
and I think the judge has to make that.
Yeah, and I will make that motion because it is in the budget and the revenue stream that we have coming in this year, we can afford it this year. and I'll make the motion that we honor the request of Whitney and the sheriff for the $2 an hour commitment into our 2023 to 2024 fiscal budget for dispatch.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion, members of the court? Sam, call the roll.
Weimel,
Yes.
Judge Summers, Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very, very much.
You're welcome. Alex or Justin, either one of you two want to say anything? No. Alex, I do have to compliment you on, you're so articulate and representing Bullitt County so well on WLKY TV over your wisdom and your experiences on handling what I'm going to say active shooters and incidents. And I am going to echo about Justin what Walt said. Financially, I make my request to Walt, but Justin, when he handles like $91 million worth of revenue that the state keeps most of it, you're terrific with your numbers. They helped me in the last 3 to 4 months, especially in trying to defend the barrel tax. And then some of the strong headwinds that we're going to be facing because it's not going away. They're coming back after it again. So, anyway, that's where we're at on this. I need a second reading of this paper on zoning ordinance 23-09, Ronald Grant.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-09. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from stream reserve to R1 residential. The property in question is 5 acres, more or less, located at 5716 Flat Lick Road, parcel number 069-000-00-035 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023Z-15 is hereby changed from stream reserve to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 4th day of April 2023. Given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of April 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Bremel, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the zoning ordinance reading of 23-09, Ronald Grant, as a recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Weimel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, members. Second reading of zoning ordinance 23-10, James and Mary Simpson, Board of Living Trust.
Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 23-10. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 7.606 acres, more or less, located at 4640 Ridge Road, parcel number 072-000-00-004A in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2023Z-17, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, and the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 4th day of April 2023, given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of April 2023.
Thank you, Tammy.
Make a motion to accept.
A second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Blamel, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the zoning recommendation for 23-10, James and Mary Simpson, their living trust. Sam, call roll, please.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 3, historically, we've done interlocal agreements with the cities, and instead of doing them all like one a month when they come due, we would like to bundle them all up at one time. Every one of them says the same thing. They're identical. It's for to help them if they have holes in the road or whatever for blacktopping, and or to aid them all the way around. I'll use Mayor Taylor as an example. We had a couple of holes come in his road last year, and we were able to use our equipment to be able to fix them. And I mean, they were large holes, and there was, what I'm gonna say, conduit and stuff underneath of them. We were able to guide him, help him get it going in the right direction.
I'll make a motion that we accept the requested interlocal agreements with the cities of Houston State, Mount Washington, Pioneer Village, Hillview, Hunter Hollow, and Rock Case.
I'm not against interlocal agreements. I'm for helping the cities, but I don't really like to do broad interlocal agreements. Usually we've done them, spent on a road or something like that. Most of the bigger cities have their own public works. I know some of them don't, but potholes and stuff like that, they can fix. I would rather see them be brought to fiscal court, like if they've got a road they want, or a certain, maybe a hole or something like that. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Any other discussion? And I guess to answer your question there is that if we do a road or something like that, it'll be brought before the court. This is to aid and assist them in their needs. And it's basically for the essence of helping them quickly.
Well, but, and another thing, there's, a lot of times there's county stuff that should be done, you know what I'm saying? And I think that should be done first, unless some kind of emergency or something. Sinkhole fell, a road fell over, sinkhole, that's different.
Right. Okay. Do I have a second? Okay.
I just made the motion because I have not seen any evidence of like misuse or anything like that. I just feel like that, you know, kind of give the road department a little leeway to work with the cities, and that's the main reason I did it. But I don't have any evidence of taking advantage of this or anything. But that's why my motion's on there. to make it easy for everybody.
And that's why it's on here. But if it's not another motion, there you go. So there won't be any agreements with the cities moving forward. First reading of zoning ordinance 23-11, and ordinance amending the flood damage prevention ordinance 16-5.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, ordinance number 23-11. An ordinance of Bullitt County, Kentucky, amending the flood damage prevention ordinance 16-05. Whereas the Bullitt County Fiscal Court in Bullitt County, Kentucky had previously established a flood damage prevention ordinance within Bullitt County, and whereas all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith to the extent such conflict only and are hereby repealed, and whereas this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption, readoption, and publication as required by law, now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County that the flood damage prevention ordinance for Bullitt County be amended as follows. Article 3, General Provisions. Section B, Basis for establishing the special flood hazard areas. The areas of special flood hazard identified by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, in the Flood Insurance Study, the FIS, for Bullitt County, dated April 5th, 2016, with the accompanying flood insurance rate maps, or FIRMs, other supporting data, and any subsequent amendments thereto, are hereby adopted by reference and declared to be part of these regulations. This FIS and attendant mapping is the minimum area of applicability of this ordinance and may be supplemented by studies for further areas which allow implementation of this ordinance, which are recommended to the Fiscal Court by the Floodplain Administrator and are enacted by Fiscal Court pursuant to statutes governing land use management regulations. The FIS and/or FIRM are permanent records of Bullitt County and are on file and available for review by the public during regular business hours at the Bullitt County Planning and Zoning Office, located at 149 North Walnut Street, 3rd floor, Shepherdsville, Kentucky, 40165. Should any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, the same shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. This ordinance amendment was adopted at a public meeting, Fiscal Court, on May 2nd, 2023. Given first reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 18th day of April, 2023, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 2nd day of May, 2023. And Judge, just to explain, the only change to the current ordinance that we have in place is that it will automatically adopt the new maps as they're updated. So we don't have to come back each time to adopt the new maps from the state. So the state specifically asked that we make this change.
Yeah, and to help you a little bit, Counselor, I have a letter on my desk that I got yesterday from FEMA for the same thing, to be able to sign it. So when this comes to fruition, we'll sign it, and it has to be in by May 23rd.
Exactly.
Or people can't get insurance. So, okay. Number 5 then. Actions requested to hire Courtney Gamble, part-time kennel attendant, at a rate of $12.25 effective 4/18/2023. I'm going to put that in the form of a motion because it's a part-time employee as needed.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I do.
Okay.
I went and visited the Bullitt County Dog Shelter yesterday. At the present time, they have 2 part-time employees and 4 full-time employees. And their capacity of dogs is 12 to 13. Right now, they have 12. When I went and visited them in January, they had 11. They have a lot of volunteers that come by and walk the dogs. And both times that I've went, there's been several of them just sitting in the office. And at this point, I just don't feel like we need another part-time employee. Now, I think this is something we need to look at when we do rebuild, when we build a new facility. But presently, I don't think we need another part-time. That's just my view.
Janice?
She is replacing someone that's leaving. We have a girl leaving in 2 weeks, so she's going to be.
Okay. Any other discussion? Sam, call the roll.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blemo?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
No.
Motion carried.
Okay. Actions requested, hire Tanya Lutz, full-time EMT at a rate of $17.50 per hour, effective 4/10/23. I'm going to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Blamel. Any discussion? Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And there's action requested surplus the items from Sheriff's Office. It's a lengthy list. There's some pretty good stuff in there if y'all want to go bid on it. It looks like it is anyway. Probably junk or obsolete, right?
How about that Jeep Wrangler? Is it any good?
You know, I've been watching Gov Deals. It's not a bad vehicle.
Okay.
Well, I'll put that in the form of a motion that we accept the request to surplus the items from the Sheriff's Office as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Sheriff's surplus items as presented, items 1 through 20. Sam, call the roll.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll take some comments from the court members because we're meeting executive session on, help me here, Tammy, for land purchase.
Right, the first image repair is 61.8101B for potential land acquisition.
Yeah, and it's just strictly for land acquisition. I'll need a motion after comments from the Magistrate Blamel. We'll start with you.
I don't have anything.
Magistrate Johnson? Sanders? Good. And I'm good too. I would like to thank the two mayors who left, Mayor Lebanon Junction, Dangerfield, and the mayor of Fox Chase, Owen Taylor, council members from Lebanon Junction, Merriman and Preston, and from the city of Shepherdsville, Mr. Hilbert. Brian, so glad you came. I know you're busy. I hope nobody followed you out that wasn't supposed to be coming behind you, okay? And where'd Kevin go? Kevin's still here, Kevin and Walt. So thank you all and your staffs for presenting so eloquently today. And
Judge, I would like to say something real quick. I know these have been in here for several meetings we've had, but I like these plaques and these, it's a constant reminder of all the different departments and agencies and stuff that we have here in the county. I know sometimes it can be forgotten about what some of the different departments and all the responsibilities, but I think they look nice and I like them.
The only thing I was the clock.
The clock.
we're gonna put this clock up there. I was wanting to, we just got, I hate to put a hole in the wall up there, but it's a nice atomic clock that everybody can see it and it won't lose time.
They really like to make the scene all that way nobody's in a hurry.
That's right.
But I do like that. They look very nice on the wall.
Okay. All right.
You want to make, well, now we gotta go to executive.
So I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session to it will be just strictly for land purchase. And I need a second.
Second.
Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And anyone wants to stay can, we'll be back, I hope shortly.
Whitney? So whenever you get a minute, can I get a copy of that? Yeah, if you don't care. Or like the sheet that has like the comparison chart or whatever. I'm not sure if you have that or not. Just no.
Thank you.